Trump had a really bad day yesterday. Look at him. He wore a blue suit when the dress code called for a black suit. He was chewing gum. He was on his phone.
Hey guys, it's your girl Cindy. Welcome back again to another video. How are you all doing? I trust you guys are having a beautiful time today. If you are new to this channel, hi, thank you so much for clicking to watch this video. So President Donald Trump is facing backlash for not putting on the traditional attire at the funeral of Pope Francis. He was seen in the video wearing a blue suit and a blue tie. Now, mind you, the street dress code for the event says men should put on a black suit, a black tie, a white shirt, and of course, black shoes. Now, in the same funeral, people saw Prince William putting on a blue suit. I have put together a few videos. Let's just hear what people are saying, because people are not happy. They said that that was very disrespectful, knowing the fact that they stated the dress code for the event. Please check these videos out.
Well, look at these two peas in a fucking pod. These two people are literally two of the biggest morons on this fucking planet. Both Prince William and Donald Trump showed up to Pope Francis's funeral wearing blue. I mean, I literally cannot believe this is who people support. Everybody else and their mama is wearing black at that funeral. Who in their right mind goes to a funeral, whether you're a higher politician or a regular poor person, goes to a funeral dressed in blue? Are you trying to make yourself look like a stupid idiot? I literally cannot believe y'all think these two are so perfect, because these are two of the biggest narcissistic assholes ever. I literally cannot believe this is who people want their children looking up to. I literally cannot believe this is who people endorse and put into their positions of power. Is this a fucking joke to y'all? This is the Pope Francis's funeral. No doubt in my mind they did this shit on purpose. I literally cannot comprehend how Donald Trump is president and how Prince William is about to be king. I honestly, genuinely cannot. They are absolutely buffoons. Anyway, shout out the boy Biden, because he's looking presidential as ever. This is how you fucking dress for a funeral. But this is y'all boy. This is y'all boy. This is y'all who y'all wanted. Get the fuck out of here.
Trump had a really bad day yesterday. Look at him. Look at this fucking slob sleeping. Look at him. He's asleep with his mouth open at the Pope's funeral. He denied Joe Biden a ride to the funeral on Air Force One. He wore a blue suit when the dress code called for a black suit. He was chewing gum. He was on his phone. And then he got called out by Cardinal Giovanni Battista. He said Pope Francis incessantly raised his voice, imploring peace and calling for reason and honest negotiation to find possible solutions. Build bridges, not walls, was an exhortation he repeated many times. I mean, Trump is a fucking disgrace. Look at this guy. Imagine getting called out at a pope's funeral for your disastrous, hateful fucking policies. And MAGA still lauds this pile of shit as some patriot who's working for the American people. Dude you know who didn't fall asleep yesterday? Joe Biden.
Many of you probably remember when President Obama wore this tan suit, which sparked a huge controversy. He wore this tan suit to a press conference, and there was a lot of debate. Why did he choose tan? He doesn't normally wear tan. Did it fit the tone and tenor of the press conference? But I know I better not ever, and I do mean ever, hear anything about this suit again. You know why? Does anybody see anything wrong here? He who shall not be named sat up here and wore a blue suit, not navy. You can clearly see it's blue, to His Holiness's funeral. And he's got enough nerve to be confused as to why people have something to say about this. Even Melania is sitting there with a very conservative jacket and skirt, and her head is fully covered. Now, normally in the Vatican, when you go inside any of the buildings, the cathedrals especially, it's requested that women cover their shoulders. And I've even seen them ask somebody to cover up their legs because their shorts were too short, out of respect and deference. But he's sitting up here with a blue suit on. I better not ever hear nothing about what Obama did. And I do mean ever. He knew this was wrong. But you know what? He doesn't care. And Melania don't talk to him, so she didn't tell him to put black on. He's just sitting up there loud and wrong, like his entire administration.
So I want to share something with you, and I want you to share your feedback with me. So you all know that today was Pope Francis's funeral. Yes, it was. And the President of the United States, Donald Trump, went to the funeral. But I was told that they were supposed to be wearing black to this funeral. But instead of wearing black, Donald Trump wore blue. And it wasn't even a dark blue like a navy blue or something like that. It was a brighter blue. And a blue tie. So that's the first thing that went wrong. But it didn't stop there. He also sat in his seat, which I was told is the third row seat close to the bathroom. I don't know why he would be by the bathroom. I don't know what the setting is like, but that's where he was, I was told. And from there, he was playing with his phone while everybody else were paying attention. And not only was he playing with his phone, not only was he playing with his phone during this time, he was also chewing gum. So I watched him pull the gum out of the paper and pushed it in his mouth. So he was the President of the United States, was chewing gum during the funeral of Pope Francis while everybody else was paying attention. So was this disrespectful to the Pope at the funeral? Or what do you think? Some people think it was disrespectful. I know what I think, but I want to hear from you. So please respond and tell me how you think. Also, in the meantime, could you share, repost, or like? I'd be grateful. Thank you.
So, Pope Francis's funeral just happened. And even though there was a very specific dress code of dark suits, preferably black, because, you know, it's a funeral, there was one guy who thought, rules don't apply to me. Can you guess who? I mean, of course, the laughingstock of the world right now would want to make this about himself. Which, I mean, maybe he did that to distract people from the smell that's wafting off of him? I guess we'll never know. But you know what? I do find it very ironic, and not in a funny way, that the same guy who berated President Zelensky on national, international TV for not wearing a suit, not respecting the office, that is, the President of the United States. And then he has the audacity to do the exact same thing that he screamed at Zelensky for, not dressing appropriately, which, granted, the situations are not exactly the same. One is literally fighting for his people's freedom, and the other only ever cared about his own individual freedom. Because let's not forget, he was headed straight to prison during the campaign trail. Because I feel like some people are forgetting that. He was running for his life, not to be president, to stay out of prison. Which, I mean, don't get me wrong, I can no longer be shocked or surprised by anything he does. I don't put anything past him, but that doesn't mean that our reactions to the things that he does, whether it be wearing a wrong colored suit or deporting people without due process doesn't mean that our reactions to those things need to be muted or like, oh, he's just being Trump, because essentially that does the same exact thing that he wants. He wants us to think that all this stuff is just normal. It's just par for the course now. This is just how it is. Because you know what? No, I don't accept that. But I mean, what do you guys think?
So Donald Trump is being criticized for his behavior at Pope Francis's funeral. So if you didn't know, Pope Francis' funeral was this morning. And basically Donald Trump arrived wearing a blue suit. And technically that's not against the dress code. They asked people to wear dark colored suits. So you could have worn a blue suit. Melania Trump wore a black dress with a veil and everything. That was fine. But a lot of people saw that as disrespectful to not wear black. And then he was found on like pictures fiddling with his phone and chewing gum. And then they didn't even stay for the whole funeral. They left early. So it was pretty, I don't know, I think it rubbed people the wrong way. And I think he said one of the cardinals had actually rebuked him, talking about building bridges and instead of building walls or something like that. I mean, there was one good part where he sat down with Vladimir Zelensky and they had like a 15-minute chat. And I think there were some pictures of him with like the French president, Emmanuel Macron. So everybody was really hopeful after seeing something like that. But yeah, it was kind of weird when I first saw that. Why is he wearing blue, you know? But there were other people that wore blue too, like Prince William, he wore blue. And Joe Biden wore blue as well. Just not as like light colored blue. What do you think about this?
All over my For You page, I am seeing Donald Trump and Melania at the Pope's funeral. And the comments about him wearing a blue suit, like that was some kind of a sacrilege. And just the bashing of Melania Trump, people saying she looks tired, she looks old. She is 55 years old. And I think she looks beautiful. And it is shocking to me that women especially have this expectation that mature women should look like their 35-year-old counterparts. They're not going to. She's aging gracefully. And then the last part was that Donald Trump was not met with thunderous applause by foreign dignitaries. Well, that's because they're in a tariff negotiation, and these foreign countries have been ripping off the American taxpayer for decades, and the gravy train is over. And they're not happy about it. You know, you could give somebody $1 a day for no reason whatsoever. But the minute you stop, you're the bastard. And that's what's happening. They're not happy about losing all of this income. But Donald Trump is trying to save the American taxpayers from being ripped off. And I'm okay with it. That's what I voted for.
Take a look at this side-by-side video of world leaders reacting to Donald Trump versus President Zelensky at Pope Francis's funeral. Yeah, as you can see, when Donald Trump walked in, it was as quiet as it could get. You could hear a pin drop. But when President Zelensky walked in, there was thunderous applause. World leaders and the people in their countries around the world do not respect Donald Trump. They don't like working with Trump. He is not a good ally. There's people like Zelensky actually fight for democracy. They're fighting to preserve their sovereignty. They're fighting to preserve peace around the world. Being respected around the world and being viewed as a good ally is a good thing. And Donald Trump has completely decimated America's reputation on the world stage. And that video certainly proves it.
Breaking news, guys. And I hope you're sitting down for this one because the world might literally come to an end. Donald Trump wore a blue suit to the Pope's funeral and he was chewing gum. Meanwhile, The actual Pope, the guy that the Democratic Party is shedding crocodile tears over, spent the last few years turning the Vatican into a woke social club, rewriting biblical teachings to fit modern day politics. But sure, Trump is the real scandal here. You want to talk about disrespect? The real blasphemy is that the devil is giving sermons at the altar and half of society is too busy clutching their pearls over a piece of orbit gum.
Deceptive mainstream media is at it again. There's never a single thing that President Trump can do without it drawing backlash from mainstream media, where they're publishing articles like this. Pope Francis's funeral attendees were required to wear black, but Trump wore blue, no respect. New York Times published a very deceptive photo zoomed in on President Trump and a small portion of the crowd showing that they're all wearing black except President Trump, saying Trump's blue suit at Pope's funeral draws attention. And it states under that headline, President Trump's choice stood out in a sea of world leaders and famous faces who wore dressed in customary black. How interesting, because when you actually look at the entire zoomed out photo, there are plenty of people that are wearing blue suits outside of what President Trump is wearing. And that's including Prince William, which was representing King Charles that did not show up to the funeral. It's always interesting how they polarize everything that President Trump does to isolate him, when in reality, all you have to do is zoom out. And the loony liberals are pushing this story as if President Trump was so disrespectful for wearing blue when there was a sea of blue in the audience, but the only thing they saw was mainstream media's photo, which proves the point that all they know how to do is parrot and think when mainstream media tells them how to think.
Okay, so today was the funeral of the Pope. This morning it happened. And there was lots of heads of state, royal families in attendance. Prince William was there. But I just wanted to start with this picture. So this was like the front row. Prince William wasn't actually on the front row. He was on the third row. Can you believe it? He wasn't fro. How rude. Just FYI as the caveat, I'm not religious at all. It's very sad when anyone dies, especially when someone like the Pope dies. I have no religious connotations. So I just wanted to put that out there first. So I'm just commenting purely on who was there because that's what I'm interested in. So I'm just starting to the left and I don't even think I can say his name. And then his wife. We'll move swiftly on. I have got them written down just because I'm not completely familiar with heads of state, but next to him is the president of Estonia. And then we have King Philippe VI and Queen Letizia of Spain. Now, she is very chic. Obviously, most people are wearing black. She looks stunning. I know it's not about the looks on the day of the funeral, but come on, she looks amazing. Then we have the little man. The little man next to her is the president of Ecuador. And then we have the Crown Prince of Abu Dhabi. And then we have Queen Mary of Denmark at the end. Now, King Frederick of Denmark is not there. He was not in attendance. He is not at the Vatican. He is actually in Japan on a state visit. So just putting that out there. So that is the fro, right? Now here was when Prince William came in to the arena where all the seating was. He is wearing navy with a black tie. Now, I have just seen that the dress code for the Pope's funeral, men could wear black, navy or grey suits with a black tie, very particular. So he's obviously gone for navy with a black tie. There was people saying, why is he in navy? Why are people in navy and not in black? You didn't have to wear black. However, black and navy don't really ever go together, William. And I know it's not about the fashion, it's about the Pope and the funeral. And I'm just saying, I don't love black and navy. Just for reference, this is where Prince William was sitting. Third row. 1, 2, 3. Third row in. Now, I'm not sure if it's done in importance or not. I haven't fully figured that out. Or if he was just late. I look quite brown in this light, don't I? Sorry, I'm being distracted. Anyway, he was sat directly behind King Abdullah and Queen Rania of Jordan. And that's where he was sat. I know it's not about fashion. I know that. Come on, Simon. But this look, this outfit, I don't know what, I'm going to investigate, but I love the stripes here. Love. Also, there was no royal representative from the Netherlands because it is King's Day today. So the King and Queen of the Netherlands were busy celebrating King's Day. So that's why there was no one from the Netherlands. I will be posting about that later because they actually look really lovely. So I'll be posting about that later. I will probably post more about the Pope's funeral. But as I said in the beginning, this is not me talking about anything religious. I'm not religious. I'm purely commenting on the fact that people were there. Okay? Just FYI. Thanks. Thanks for watching.
Oh, it's the funeral. Oh, there's Trump. It's really quiet. Like everybody's looking at him going, I hope he falls down those stairs. Just slip. Look, he's concentrating.
As they're thinking about what Pope Francis meant to them. Loud applause for President Zelensky of Ukraine.
And you notice he looked back when he was going down the stairs?
The crowd is erupting.
Trump
for
couldn't do
Zelensky
that. He'd fall.
as they see him, because the crowd has these large television monitors, and as soon as the shot of Zelensky was shown, there was this huge applause.
If this was Joe Biden, what would the media be saying? What would Republicans be saying? What would MAGA be saying? What would George Clooney and the New York Times would be saying? Are you serious? This man is too old to do the fucking job, and he's also obviously insane.
Trump showed how classless and tasteless he truly is. As you know, the Pope had a funeral over the weekend, and Donald Trump was there representing the United States. The dress code for the funeral was black. Donald Trump goes wearing all blue, representing the United States on the front row in all blue, and the dress code is black. Then Donald Trump, during the funeral, on the front row, is playing with his cell phone during the funeral. How tacky and tasteless. And then he's constantly putting gum in his mouth in front of everybody. I mean, the man just has no manners, no upbringing whatsoever. If you didn't know better, you would think he was raised in a barn. Maybe he was raised in a barn. I don't know. But Donald Trump does not care about the image that he portrays to the rest of the world about the United States. And the rest of the world sees Donald Trump as what he is, as many of us see it. Love to hear from my Democrats, my MAGAs, my crazies, my cuckoos, and my burned out light bulbs. What do you think about this latest little stunt? And it was a stunt. I'm sure it was on purpose.
Have you seen this picture? I don't get it. Why does the president continue to embarrass us? Everyone is wearing black, except for him. He's wearing blue to a funeral of the Pope? Man, this is a great example of why he's a failure, because he cannot learn, and he demands respect from us. Nobody respects a failure unless you're a failure. And I can hear the maggots now. He's so cool. He's different than the rest of the leaders. Yeah, he sucks. That's how he's different. Get with the program, dude. You're representing the American people, not a Florida trailer park.
So I took some screenshots of comments randomly so you guys can see what other people said about this whole situation. Because like I said, people are not happy and they are dragging him. Please pause to read this comment if you want to. Now, not only that people are dragging him for not putting on the traditional, dress code, people are also dragging him for chewing gum. I don't know if you all saw that clip. It's not sitting well with a lot of people that President Donald Trump was seated and seen chewing gum while the funeral was going on. I don't know. And also, people are reacting, when President Donald Trump arrived with his wife, people were, of course, seated looking at them. No one clapped. But when President of Ukraine, Zelensky, arrived, people were literally clapping, and some people even stood up. People are also talking about it on Twitter. Twitter is on fire, and of course, TikTok. They are reacting to, almost everything that happened. And even when President Donald Trump was seated with Zelensky, having a meeting, kind of, people are also talking about it. I don't know if you all saw that clip. Also, people are reacting to the clip that surfaced, seeing President Donald Trump on his phone while the funeral was going on. That again is not sitting well with people. They were like, why was he on his phone? People are saying a lot. I just thought to react to this whole situation. What you have to say? Did you all see the clip, where he was chewing gum and when he was on his phone? Let me know in the comments, guys. And of course, don't forget to like this video, share, comment, subscribe to this channel for more videos. I'm gonna see y'all in my next one. Thank you guys for watching. Bye.